Well, in this lecture, we will discuss history, highways, and motorways of Pakistan. The subject's name is Transportation Engineering, and in this course, we will cover highways, railways, and runways. Transportation is a system for carrying passengers and goods from one place to the other by means of highways, railways, runways, and waterways. As far as the transportation engineering is concerned, transportation engineering is the application of scientific principles of planning, designing, construction, operation, and maintenance of transportation systems. It is vital for economic development of a country. Now look at the role of transportation in national development. So in this regard, we can consider different aspects like economic growth, place utility of goods, time factor, that is the time utility of goods, preservation of quality of goods, mass production, exploitation of natural resources, urbanization, industrial development, agricultural development, cost of goods, defense and strategic needs, transport facilities, and social activities. So there is an important role of transportation in all these things which are mentioned on this particular slide. Well, if we look at the transportation ways, we can consider four different transportation ways. First is the railways, and under that we can consider the surface railways, underground railways, elevated railways, and the light rail transit. Word transit basically is used for the conveyance of people. The next transportation way, that is the road transport, then the air transport, and then water transport. While in this subject of transportation engineering, we are not going to cover this one, that is the water transport. We will focus on the highways, railways, and the runways in this particular course of transportation engineering. Well, if we just look at the surface transportation and aviation, so there are different types of surfaces which can be considered: land, water, and air. So when we are considering the land as the surface, so obviously the roadways, or you can say the highways, and the railways will be considered. When we are considering the water as a surface, then obviously waterways will be considered, and in the case of air, obviously airways. Well, this slide is showing different activities and portraying the importance or the significance of the transportation systems. For example, you can see that this is the home, and somebody has either used the automobile or the transit or taxi, and ultimately that person has reached the airport for the departure to his destination. So here you can see ultimately he has arrived this particular airport, and then ultimately that person has reached the destination, that is this hotel. If you just look at the CLOs of this course, the course which is having the title Transportation Engineering, there are 4 CLOs. Number 1, to describe different systems and structures of roads, railways and runways in Pakistan. Number 2, to discuss various factors influencing geometric design of roads, railways and runways. Number 3, to explain material characterization, binder, aggregates and mixtures, and existing laboratory equipment for characterization of ballast material and asphalt concrete. Number 4, to theorize and defend the recommended traffic management plan and or geometric or pavement design. Now this column is meant for the Bloom's taxonomy, and the last column is meant for the PLOs. Now look at the course content. This course content is for the highways, and here you can see elements of typical cross section of road, types of cross sections, design speed, lane capacity, capacity reducing factors, horizontal and vertical curves, grade line, super elevation, transition curve, curve widening, site distance requirements, principles of intersection design for at grade and grade separated intersections, generalization, highway construction materials, their properties and tests, characteristics of drivers, vehicles and roadways, traffic surveys, traffic controlling devices, highway illumination, parking and accident studies. For the railways, the topics are elements of a track, types of gauges, types of rail sections, rail joints, creep and wear of rails, fish plate, bearing plates and check rails, types of sleepers, their merits and demerits, sleeper density, spacing and stiffness of track, types of ballast, requirements for good ballast, renewal of ballast, formation of single and double track formation failures, selection of site for a railway station, layout of stations and yards, points and crossing, various layouts, signaling and interlocking, modern method for construction of tracks, maintenance tools and organization. And for railways, after railways, if you just look at the runways, airport requirements, site selection, airport classifications, aircraft characteristics, runway length and runway configurations, runway lighting, airport drainage system. So these topics will be discussed under the headings of highways, railways and runways. And here you can see some good books related to highways, and here you can see some good books for the railways and some good books for the runways. Okay, so as you know, the name of the subject is transportation engineering. So this term should not be a new term for you now. So transportation engineering is the application of scientific principles to the planning, design, operation and management of transportation systems. Transportation engineering is a subspecialty of civil engineering. The transportation system is a functional system in the context of traffic as a whole because it provides a service, the movement of goods and people from place to place. Now the importance or significance. Transportation system is a major functional system because it is an essential feature in the economy and personal lives of people everywhere. A highly developed transportation system makes possible the abundance and variety of goods and the high level of personal mobility that are the hallmarks of a wealthy society. There are also some negative effects. Transportation accounts for almost two-thirds of the petroleum consumption. Transportation is a major contributor of environmental problems such as air pollution, noise, and destruction of natural habitats. Importance of highways. Good highways are so important and interwoven with every phase of our daily activities that it is almost impossible to imagine what life would be like without them. We depend on highways for the movement of goods, for travel to and from work, for services, for social and recreational purposes, and for other activities necessary to the functioning of our complex society. The planning, design, construction, operation and maintenance of highways depend largely on the efforts of the highway engineer who must translate the desires of the people for better highway transportation into physical being. The development of highways. So first you can look at the ancient roads. Origin before recorded history, even before invention of wheel, that is 10,000 years ago. Stone paved streets of Ur is the name of an ancient city in the Middle East. The stone paved streets of Ur in the Middle East was constructed somewhere about 4000 before Christ. Brick paving in India started 3000 BC. In Europe, wooden and stone pathways were constructed 2000 BC. Streets of the city of Babylon were paved as early as 2000 BC. Roads for Pyramid of Egypt 3000 years before Christ. Well, this point is very important. The greatest road network was constructed by Romans. Roads were commonly constructed at least 4.25 meter wide. It was common practice to reduce gradients by cutting tunnels. The roads were built on embankment 1 meter to 2 meter high. Later European development. Interest in the art of road building was revived after Romans in Europe in the late 18th century. During this period, French engineers advocated a method of road construction utilizing a broken stone base covered with small stones. The regime of Napoleon in France, that is 1800 to 1814, gave a great impetus to road construction, chiefly for military purposes, and led to the establishment of a national system of highways in the country. At about the same time in England, two Scottish engineers, Thomas Telford and John L. Macadam, developed similar type of construction. Telford urged the use of large pieces of ledgestone, that means the stones collected from rock, to form a base with smaller stones for the wearing surface. Macadam advocated the use of smaller broken stones throughout. This latter type of construction is still in extensive use, being the forerunner of various types of modern macadam bases and pavements. Principles used for construction of roads by Thomas Telford and John Loudon Macadam. Well, these principles are very important and still are being followed. Number one, raise the foundation above the surrounding ground so that groundwater will not soften the subgrade. Subgrade is the natural soil in most of the cases, and it acts like the foundation of the road. Crown the earth's subgrade and drain the surface water into two sides. Crown means just raise the mid part so that water can drain out laterally. Number three, use clean, free draining stone which will drain the water and not be affected by frost. Number four, construct the roadway to suit the anticipated traffic loading. So all the modern components of modern highways design were being utilized by 1820 in England. Telford used a masonry surfacing and lateral drains every 100 feet, while Macadam used a one-size stone-bearing surface. The use of these principles rapidly spread to the United States with construction of the Boonesboro Turnpike Road in 1823. Now look at the motorways. The motorways of Pakistan are a network of high-quality, international standard, limited access highways in Pakistan, which are maintained and operated by the National Highway Authority. Pakistan's motorways are either 6 lanes or 4 lanes and are limited access with a minimum speed of 80 km per hour and a maximum speed of 120 km per hour. They have a central median, that means some sort of separation between the opposite traffic. So I will repeat, they have a central median and are fenced on the outside for safety and to prevent unauthorized access. Well, keep this thing in the mind that these are the essential components for the motorway: central median and the fence. So these are the essential components for the motorway. Entry to all motorways in Pakistan is restricted to fast-moving vehicles only. Two-wheelers, motorcycles and bicycles, and slow-moving traffic modes are not allowed. However, the motorway police personnel use heavy motorbikes for patrolling purposes. Construction and agricultural machinery is also restricted on the motorways. Well, this is the list of the motorways of Pakistan. Some of them have already been constructed and some are still being constructed. National Highways of Pakistan. Pakistan has a nationwide system of national highways, distinct from the motorways which are currently being built. The National Highway Authority is responsible for all the national highways. National highways begin with the letter N, generally followed by two numerals and a hyphen in between, for example N75. Some national highways, however, also begin with the letter S or E, generally followed by two numerals separated by a hyphen. While N stands for National Highway, S is meant for strategic highway, and E is meant for expressway. Well, if you just look at this map is portraying the national highways, the expressways, and the strategic highways or the roads, and this motorways and the major arterial roads are also highlighted in this map. List of national highways. N5 extends from Karachi to Torkham via Hyderabad, Multan, Lahore, Rawalpindi and Peshawar. Lahore-Peshawar section, also known as GT or Grand Trunk Road, the British-built GT road, also extends east to the Indian border and subsequently continues all the way to Kolkata, which is near Bangladesh. Total length is 1819 km. N10 extends along the Arabian Sea coast from Karachi to Gwadar, also known as Makran Coastal Highway, total length 653 km. N15 extends from Mansehra to Chilas via Naran and Jalkhand, total length 240 km. N25 extends from Karachi to Chaman via Bela, Khulzar, Kalat and Quetta, also known as RCD Road Highway. Total length is 813 km. N35, also known as the Karakoram Highway, total length 806 km, extends from Hassan Abdal to Khunjrab via Abbottabad, Tharkot and Gilgit. And similarly, you can see different important national highways on this particular slide: N50, N55, N65 and N70. And here you can see N75, which is also known as the Murray Expressway, and N80 that you can see over here. Here N20, N90 and N95. And then you can see some strategic highways or roads: S1 extending from Gilgit to Skardu, S2 Kohala to Muzaffarabad, S3 Muzaffarabad to Chakoti. And then the expressways: E3 extending from Wazirabad to Pindi Bhattiyan, E4 extending from Faisalabad to Khanewal, E5 Khanewal to Lodha. Okay, now look at N5, which is very important highway, national highway. So you can see the specifications are given for N5. This N5 is formerly known as the GT road. The National Highway 05 or N5, part of Grand Trunk Road, runs from Karachi to Torkham. It is 1819 km in length and runs north from the port city of Karachi, located in Sindh province, to Hyderabad, Moro and Khairpur, before crossing into Punjab province, where it passes through Multan, Sahiwal, Lahore, Gujranwala, Gujarat, Jhelum and Rawalpindi. At Rawalpindi it passes to Attock before crossing the Indus River into KPK province, where it passes through Nowshera and Peshawar before reaching the border town of Torkham. Its total length is 1819 km, 1021 km in Punjab, 671 km in Sindh, and 127 km in KPK. It is managed by National Highway Authority of Pakistan. The N5 is built on the ancient Grand Trunk Road, commonly known as GT Road. After the partition of India, a vast portion of the Grand Trunk Road came under Pakistan. Thus, developments of this road took place, and in 1990s, the road was converted in an international standard highway. New GT Road. In Pakistan, the old GT Road ends at the suburban town of Wagah near Lahore at the Pakistan-India border. There were some routes in Pakistan which were known as GT Road, Peshawar to Lahore, Multan Road, Lahore to Multan, Rahim Yar Khan Road, Bhalpur to Rahim Yar Khan, and Karachi Road, that is Sakhar to Karachi. National Highway Authority planned to combine these roads into one highway, thus N5 or New GT Road came into existence. A huge upgrade took place on these routes in mid-1990s, and N5 was converted into a 4-lane 1819 km long highway. N5 is now Pakistan's longest and most important highway. Then look at the Makran Coastal Highway. The specifications. The Makran Coastal Highway is located primarily in Balochistan, Pakistan. It follows the Arabian Sea coast from Karachi to Gwadar. It is also referred to as National Highway 10 or N10. History. Previously, there was a muddy track linking Karachi with the town of Gwadar. Journeys between the two could take several days, as the safest route was to travel via Quetta. The journey time has now been reduced to 6 or 7 hours with the construction of New Makran Coastal Highway, National Highway N10. The highway was built as a part of an overall plan to improve transport facilities in southern Balochistan. Other parts of the plan include the new seaport and international airport at Gwadar and the construction of a road linking Gwadar to Khuzar. In the coastal areas of Balochistan, the main livelihood is fishing. The catch could not be sold in Karachi because the fish would rot by the time they reached Karachi. However, the new highway has improved people's livelihoods by giving them the opportunity to sell fish in major markets in Karachi. So here you can see the actual view of the road. Another view. Now look at another very important highway, which is called as Karakoram Highway. Now here you can see that specifications are given. The Karakoram Highway KKH, in Urdu we call it Shahar-e-Karakoram, is the highest paved international road. Look at this. It is the highest paved international road in the world. It connects China and Pakistan across the Karakoram mountain range through the Khunjarab Pass at an altitude of 4,693 meter or 15,397 feet as confirmed by both SRTM and multiple GPS readings. Now if you just look at SRTM, SRTM stands for Shuttle Radar Topography Mission. I will repeat, Shuttle Radar Topography Mission. And as far as the GPS is concerned, GPS stands for Global Positioning System. Well, it connects China's Xinjiang region with Pakistan northern areas and also serves as popular tourist attraction. It is also referred to as National Highway 35 or N35 due to its high elevation and difficult conditions in which it was constructed. It is also referred to as the ninth wonder of the world. Now the history of the Karakoram Highway. The Karakoram Highway, also known as the Friendship Highway in China, was built by the governments of Pakistan and China and was completed in 1986 after 20 years of construction. 810 Pakistanis and 82 Chinese workers lost their lives, mostly in landslides and falls, while building the highway. The route of the KKH tracé is one of the many parts of the ancient Silk Road. On the Pakistani side, the road was constructed by FWO Frontier Works Organization, employing the Pakistan Army Corps of Engineers. So here you can see the Karakoram Highway, the beautiful view of the Karakoram Highway. Another view, and here you can see another view of that setup. Yes, here another view. Okay, at the end of this lecture, I would like to give you some exposure to the CPEC. CPEC should not be a new concept for you. I am sure you are familiar with that. So China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is a framework of regional connectivity. CPEC will not only benefit China and Pakistan, but will have positive impact on Iran, Afghanistan, India, Central Asian Republic, and the region. The enhancement of geographical linkages, having improved road, rail, and air transportation system with frequent and free exchanges of growth and people-to-people contact, enhancing understanding through academic, cultural, and regional knowledge and culture, activity of higher volume of flow of trade and businesses, producing and moving energy to have more optimal businesses, and enhancement of cooperation by win-win model will result in well-connected, integrated region of shared destiny, harmony, and development. Well, on this slide you can see the highways network of CPEC, and the roads are mentioned which are to be constructed. Some of them have already been constructed and some are to be constructed in the future, are highlighted in this map. And at the end you can see that this is a map showing the railways network of CPEC. So here you can see the different routes of railways tracks which are to be constructed under CPEC. So in this way, in this lecture, we mainly covered history of the transportation, and we focused on the highways and the motorways of Pakistan. Thank you.